Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I am Fujihan Pratiwi from English Education Department of State Islamic University of Sultan Syarif Kasim Riau. And in this video, I will try to analyze the research paper from my senior in English Education Department. And the research paper from Hasni Rahmi, and as you know, this is only chapter 1. So let's start this analysis. Okay guys, the title of this research is about a comparison between male and female students' language learning strategy preference in learning English at State Senior High School 12 Pekanbaru. There are many components that I will explain to you about this research paper. They are titling of the research, background of the research, defining the terms, identification of the problem, limitation of the problem, formulation of the problem, objective of the problem, and significance of the research. First, about titling of the research. As we learned before, the title of the research must unique and important issue related with our subject as English student. And in this title also complete with location where the researcher do the research. The location at State Senior High School 12 Pekanbaru. And the second, about background of the research. In this background must support by related theories from experts and also by several findings. In background must support by related theories from experts and by several research findings. Based on this background, the researcher do the interview with English teacher at State Senior High School 12 Pekanbaru, and also the researcher do some activity with the student to know what is their problem. Next, about definition of the terms. The term of the key term to avoid misunderstanding and misinterpretation with your reader. So, in this research paper, the researcher have 4 key terms. They are comparison, language learning strategies, preference, and learning English. First, analysis about identification of the problem. In this part of the research, the researcher must explain and restate about the serious effect of statement and contain the specific problem. And in this paper, the identification of the problem related about between male and female have different or same strategies in language learning. And next, about limitation of the problem. As we know, not all about the problem can investigate at once, because as we know, a researcher have a limitation and also have a weakness. And in this paper, just focus about comparison between male and female language learning strategies preference in learning English at State Senior High School 2 Pekanbaru. Next, about the formulation of the problem. And in this paper, there are 3 research questions. I want to read for you. First, about what are the language learning strategies of male students of the 10th grade of State Senior High School 12 Pekanbaru in learning English. And 2, about what are the language learning strategies of female students? And 3, is there any significant difference on the language learning strategy preference between male and female students? So, the function of formulation the problem because not all aspect appropriate with this step, and also about the practice. So the researcher should state and formulate in the form of the research question. Next, about objective of the research. In this part, researchers mention the objective of the research to answer this research question. So, if the research question have consist of three parts, so in this objective of the problem also consists of three parts too. And the last part in this research paper, chapter 1, about significance of the research. So in this part, the researcher must mention the description about beneficial value that may be scientifically contributed by the findings. And finally, I think overall contents in this research paper chapter 1 is appropriate with what we learned before in the academic writing. Okay, that's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.